Is Mortal Kombat being dethroned? A bit of a dramatic question, but it's the question I'm posing. And as I presented that question, you may have had a gut reaction. No, yes, they never had the throne, or what throne are you even talking about? That last reaction is the correct reaction, so I'll make this question a bit more clear. When I talk about Mortal Kombat being dethroned, I don't mean in terms of sales. They are still firmly on that throne in comparison to their FGC competitors. More so, what I'm talking about is the game itself, and that is a far more subjective question. On this channel, I've made my feelings about Mortal Kombat 1 known a couple of times. The short version is that I think this is the worst entry in the NetherRealm era. And why just stop at Mortal Kombat? I think it's the worst NetherRealm game, relative to each game's release year and lifespan, of course. But before I get deeper into the main question that I want to focus on, I'll try to quickly address some of the people who may have an issue with my MK1 take. Mainly because there is a sizable subset of MK11 detractors. But to me, MK11 just tried some stuff gameplay wise to shake up the game and keep it from just being MKX again, and not everything landed the way the devs or us the players hoped. However, there was a hell of a lot to love if you ask me. And most importantly, the quality was present, the content was present, effort was present. The game had a good story. It was no MK9 story, but it was a good story. There was lots to do, reasons to play, tons of customization and experimentation to be had. And while not as stylized as MK9 and X, still had a tinge of stylization that puts its art direction pretty firmly above the bland bowl of oats that is MK1. So yeah, to me, you could argue that MK1 has mildly better gameplay than MK11. I'd agree with that. But it hardly matters when MK11 handily has everything else. Thank you, I won't be taking questions at this time. If you need to know more, check out my previous Mortal Kombat 1 videos. Anyway, with that now explained, let's get back on fucking track. It is because of my perception of Mortal Kombat 1 that I now want to discuss its place in the FGC hierarchy. And as I said, this is not about sales. To me, NetherRealm has been putting everyone to shame and making what are hands down the best fighting games you can buy for about a whole decade. The entirety of the NetherRealm era up to this point, they have gone undefeated in my opinion, and nearly unchallenged. However, with Street Fighter 6 being as fantastic as it is, with Tekken 8 showing off all of its gameplay and game modes and what have you, coupled with Mortal Kombat 1 being the unfinished hollowed husk of its franchise, we may be primed for a royal deposition. That is to say, the king may soon be dethroned. Now, I can't say if that's happening for sure. I don't know the future. Mortal Kombat may get their shit together, they may not. MK1 can turn things around, possibly with lots of content updates or DLC, or we might have to wait for the next game. And who's to say if that next game will come before or after Injustice 3 or some other project? All I'm saying is the king did trip and fall. His crown fell off. Theoretically, someone else can pick it up before he does. Now, I know some of you might be saying, MK never had the crown. Every Street Fighter game ever is better than all of NetherRealm's games. Every Tekken game ever takes a huge shit on NetherRealm. That's fine, you're allowed to think that. But keep in mind, I'm not really talking about which game's fundamental feel of gameplay you like better or which franchise you're nostalgic for. I'm talking about which games are better. I mean, like, for me, fundamentally, I like the feel of how NetherRealm games play better. But that doesn't mean there's something wrong about a game playing differently, and that's not enough to make the game greater overall, which is why I still think Street Fighter 6 is an obviously superior game to MK1, even though MK1 still plays like an MK game, like a NetherRealm game, which I fundamentally prefer. Each game's quality is much more than their fundamental feels that we're all familiar with by now. But yes, in my opinion, NetherRealm had that fighting game crown and may still be clinging to it just a little, but this may be the beginning of us bearing witness to them being knocked from the throne. If Street Fighter and Tekken continue to put their best foot forward, not to mention that everyone should be afraid of Project L, it's not hard to imagine NetherRealm losing their place on top of the dog pile and be in a situation where even if they maintain higher sales for a while, they still won't be viewed as the fighting game. They will no longer be the game that everyone gushes about. They'll just be the game that a lot of people still buy because it feels routine, not because it's good. And it will be a little bit sad to see MK turn into Madden or 2K or Call of Duty or whatever, where yeah, we all get it every time, but quality is not guaranteed. However, it's not too hard to imagine the opposite either, because Mortal Kombat's grip on the casual audience is so strong that they will always have that follow-up chance to prove to people that they are still better than their competition, especially because in the case of MK1, NetherRealm has done an exceptional job at hiding the fact that this game was rushed and incomplete. This is not the game they wanted to put out, I guarantee it, but they have done so well to conceal that. No devs have said a peep or given a hint that that was the case, even though it is, and although the game is kind of barren, NetherRealm honed in and tried to refine what little they had in a way that hides the imperfections. Honestly, it's impressive. I've never seen a studio handle a botched development with such grace. I sound like I'm being sarcastic, but it is seriously a feat. This is probably the most well-received incomplete game ever sold for full price, especially in Twitter era. But yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here. I guess I just wanted to jabber, do a little MK talk, looking at some possibilities for the future. Obviously, I was and am disappointed with MK1, but I believe they'll get things back on track with their next game, which shouldn't have the same troubled development. But even if MK doesn't get back on track, even if it becomes an infinitely worse franchise that is much less enjoyable to engage with, that's fine with me. I love a good shakeup. I'll be playing something else. But for now, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you guys think of all this. Hop in the comments and do your best to insult me, as is your nature. And if you enjoyed this, please, please, please like and subscribe. Until next time, I am Waifu Belector. I am just a normal guy. I like hentai, and I'm sure Tekken 8 will be better than MK1. Goodbye.